I saved $7,000 for my daughter's wedding after raising her alone. Then she gave my role to her stepdad and left me out of everything. I taught her a lesson no one saw coming. She asked me to walk her down the aisle. Then, weeks before the wedding, she said she wanted her stepfather to do it instead. What happened next shocked everyone and changed our family forever. My name's Mark, I'm 48 now, and for most of my life, it was just me and my daughter, Katie. She's 27. I raised her on my own after her mother, Lisa, walked out when Katie was 6. One morning, she left a note on the kitchen counter. I need to rediscover who I am. Please don't follow me. And that was it. No warning, no goodbye. Just gone. I told Katie for years that her mom had issues to work through, that she loved her, but couldn't be here right now. I never trashed Lisa, even though I wanted to, especially on those nights when Katie cried herself to sleep asking, "Did I do something wrong?" I did everything to make sure Katie felt loved. I worked overtime shifts at the plant, packed her lunches, made her Halloween costumes, went to every school play. When she got her first period, I was the one who made a midnight run for supplies and cupcakes because I thought she deserved to feel special. I wasn't perfect, but I was there. Always. Then, when Katie was 18, Lisa came back. Just showed up one Saturday like nothing had happened. I remember the sound of the doorbell. I was in the garage fixing a shelf, covered in sawdust. I thought it was UPS. But when I opened the door, there she was, Lisa, with a designer purse slung over her arm and a wide smile like she was here for brunch. Katie came downstairs, froze, and whispered, "Mom?" They hugged like they'd only been apart a few weeks, not 12 years. I stood in that entryway, a ghost in my own home. Lisa spun a story that made me the villain. Said I'd pushed her away, that she was scared to come back. Said I kept her from her daughter. None of it was true, but Katie wanted to believe her. Wanted that fairy tale reunion so badly, she started rewriting history with her mother holding the pen. Then came Lisa's new husband, Ted. Clean-shaven, soft-spoken, ex-real estate agent turned yoga instructor. He wasn't a bad guy, just a well-packaged replacement. Over time, Katie started treating him like the father figure I had been for 2 decades. Lisa and Ted became the shiny new ornaments in Katie's life, while I was left collecting dust on the shelf. Still, I kept hoping things would turn around. When Katie got engaged last year to Josh, a solid guy who actually asked you how your day was, I thought this was my moment. My redemption arc. Katie and I met for lunch weekly to talk venues, photographers, guest lists. I offered to cover part of the cost, not a fortune, just $7,000 I'd saved over the years. And at first, she welcomed me in. I thought we were finally mending the cracks. Then, one night, we were having burgers at this old diner we used to go to. She was poking at her fries when she looked up and said, "Dad, I think I want Ted to walk me down the aisle." I don't even remember how I got home. I do remember the burn in my chest, though. Like all the years, all the sacrifices, all the "Dad, can you come pick me up?" had been erased by one sentence. Katie said it wasn't about replacing me, that it was just something Mom thought would be meaningful. But how do you not take that personally? How do you nod and smile while someone else walks your daughter down the aisle you paid for? I told her the truth, that I couldn't support a wedding where I was treated like a placeholder. She said she understood, but in a voice that made it sound like I was the one being cruel. From that day on, I watched the invitations go out, the seating plans unfold, the speeches drafted. None of it included me. Ted was front and center. I was background noise. I thought the worst part was being replaced. But what I didn't know was that Katie and Lisa had something even more painful in store. Something that would make me question not just my role in her life, but my very place in this family. And that was just the beginning. 3 weeks before the wedding, my sister Lisa called me. She sounded cautious, like she didn't want to be the one to break the news, but someone had to. "Mark, did you know they're not listing you in the program?" she asked. I blinked, holding my coffee mug in silence. "What program?" I asked. "The wedding program. The one Katie's been designing with Lisa and Ted. They're listing her as daughter of Lisa and Ted Harper. Your name's not on it." I sat there, stunned. Not angry at first, just cold. Hollow. I had already accepted not walking her down the aisle. That hurt enough. But to not even be mentioned? Like I was never her father? Like I hadn't raised her through every scraped knee, every birthday, every late-night fever? I texted Katie that night. Kept it short. "Can we talk tomorrow? Something important." She replied with a single word. "Busy." I tried again a few days later. She finally agreed to meet for coffee. She showed up late, wearing sunglasses indoors like some kind of celebrity. And when I brought up the program, she just sipped her latte and said, "Mom thought it'd be simpler this way." Simpler, I said, trying not to raise my voice. Simpler than acknowledging the man who raised you for 20 years? It's just a piece of paper, Dad, she said flatly. It doesn't mean anything. I leaned back and stared at her. You say it doesn't mean anything, but everything you've done since this engagement started says it means everything. She didn't respond. And then I made a mistake. I asked her, "Is this really what you want?" Katie flinched. Just slightly. That tiny wince said everything. But she didn't answer me directly. She just mumbled, "It's what we've decided," and left half her coffee on the table. From then on, I stopped offering help. No more checks. No more calls to vendors. No more texts asking if she needed anything. It was like someone had turned off a switch in me. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. Lisa and Ted, of course, filled the vacuum. I heard through the grapevine they were throwing in extra support to cover what I had refused to contribute. Lisa even told one of my cousins, "Mark's been difficult since day one." Difficult. For not funding the wedding where I was being erased like a typo. But it didn't stop there. One evening, I was visiting my sister when she handed me a copy of the reception seating chart. "I thought you might want to see this," she said hesitantly. There it was. Lisa and Ted, front table with the bride and groom. Me? Tucked into the extended family table, between a cousin I hadn't seen since the Bush administration and a great-uncle who always smelled like mothballs and bad breath. No speech. No mention. Just an anonymous body in a chair. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, staring at a stack of photo albums. Katie's preschool graduation. Her first concert. The time she won the spelling bee and ran straight into my arms. I didn't cry. I couldn't. It was past tears. But I did something else. I opened a drawer and pulled out the envelope labeled "Will and Estate." I hadn't updated it in 5 years. Back then, Katie was the sole beneficiary. Now, I started crossing out names. Rewriting. Recalculating. My sister Lisa, the one who'd never once made me feel invisible, she was added in. So was a children's charity I used to donate to. But Katie? I didn't remove her out of anger. I removed her out of self-respect. Then, something strange happened. A week before the wedding, I got a call from Josh, Katie's fiancé. "Hey Mark," he said, his voice awkward. "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry about all this. I don't agree with how it's gone down." I was silent for a moment. "Then why didn't you say anything?" He sighed. "Because Lisa told Katie you were trying to ruin the day. Said you were being dramatic. And Katie, she listens to her mom a lot more than she used to." There it was. The truth I hadn't wanted to admit. Katie wasn't just drifting, she was being led. Or worse, rewritten. And what happened next would prove just how far they were willing to go to cut me out, not just of the wedding, but of her entire life. When I was 16, I stood on a cold wooden stage in the gym of our high school, clutching a crumpled note in my hand. It was the senior awards night, and they were announcing the scholarship recipients. I wasn't supposed to be there. I wasn't supposed to win. But when the principal read my name, my mom didn't clap. My dad wasn't there. I remember looking out into the crowd and seeing no one rise to cheer for me, not even a teacher. I just stood there, blinking under the lights, waiting for someone to be proud. I promised myself that night that when I had a family, I'd never let them feel that alone. That's what haunted me now. The cruel irony of it all. That I had spent 26 years giving Katie what no one ever gave me, and when the time came, she chose someone else to stand beside her, clap for her, give her away. And that wasn't even the worst part. 3 days before the wedding, my sister Lisa called again. Her voice sounded tense. "Mark, you might want to sit down for this." She told me they'd revised the wedding program again. Not only was I still left off, but they were officially listing Ted as Katie's father in the ceremonial introduction. Not stepfather. Not honorary. Father. "They're calling him the father of the bride," Lisa whispered. My breath caught in my throat. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest with a closed fist. "Is this a joke?" I asked. "No," she said. "And that's not all." Apparently, Lisa had arranged for a slideshow to play during the reception. It included pictures of Katie's childhood. Only most of them weren't from her real childhood. They were staged. Photos from the past few years with Lisa and Ted. Katie in a white dress at a faux daddy-daughter dance. Katie blowing out candles with Ted behind her, hands on her shoulders. All posed. All curated. The life I gave her, rewritten like I never existed. I didn't cry. I laughed. A slow, bitter laugh that surprised even me. Then I walked straight to my desk and opened my laptop. I opened a folder I hadn't looked at in years, photos of Katie and me. Her first snow day. The time she broke her arm and made me draw a smiley face on her cast every morning. A picture of us dancing in the kitchen in our socks when the power went out. Proof. Evidence that I existed in her life before Lisa decided to re-edit the script. I compiled them all into a slideshow. But not for the wedding. I had a different idea. I called a local videographer and asked how fast he could make a video montage. With music, I said. Nothing sad. Something real. Something honest. He delivered it the next morning. And that same day, I made a decision. I wasn't going to the wedding. But I wasn't going to stay silent, either. I asked Lisa if she'd help me. She was reluctant at first. But when I showed her the wedding slideshow photos, how thoroughly they had erased me, she nodded. I'll do it, she said. What exactly are we doing? She asked. We're telling the truth, I replied. And we're doing it where everyone can hear it. Katie's wedding day arrived. I didn't put on a suit. I didn't drive to the venue. I stayed home. But Lisa didn't. She brought a flash drive. And when the lights dimmed during the reception for the planned slideshow, she swapped it. What played on the screen that night wasn't Lisa and Ted's highlight reel. It was me and Katie. Our story. From the very beginning. The room fell silent. And then, the final photo appeared. Katie, age 7, asleep in my lap, a blanket wrapped around us. I was smiling at her. A man with no plan, no partner, no money, but with all the love in the world. And the caption underneath read, "This is the man who raised me, even when it broke him." I wasn't there to see the aftermath. But Lisa told me what happened. Katie left the room. Didn't even make it to the cake. Ted looked like he'd swallowed a brick. And Lisa? She just sat back in her chair and folded her arms. What none of them knew was that this wasn't just my way of fighting back. It was a message. I may have been written out of the wedding, but I wouldn't let myself be erased from my daughter's life, even if she was doing everything she could to forget me. And what came next changed everything. Ted, I said cautiously, why are you calling me? He hesitated, then cleared his throat. I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but after everything that happened, I couldn't keep this to myself. My chest tightened. I filed for divorce, he said flatly. 3 days after the wedding. I didn't say anything at first. I just let the words settle in the air like dust after a storm. She lied to me, Mark, he continued. About everything. About why she left you. About the kid. About the way she painted you. I believed it all. What changed? I asked. He exhaled. Your video. The slideshow. That shook Katie, sure, but it blew the whole thing wide open for me. I confronted Lisa. She tried to spin it, of course. Called you vindictive. Said you edited it to make her look bad. Did you believe her? I wanted to, he said. But then I found a box in the garage. Old letters. One of them was from the guy she had the affair with. He was trying to contact her again. It was recent. She kept it hidden. A wave of nausea washed over me. What did it say? That he still thought about the baby, Ted said quietly. Wanted to know if she ever told her daughter the truth. He sounded remorseful. But Lisa never planned to respond. She shredded it after I found it. I leaned against the wall, trying to process it all. You didn't deserve what she did, Ted added. Neither of us did. That was the first time I felt any sympathy for him. He'd stepped into a story mid-chapter, trusted the narrator, and only now realized he was just a footnote in someone else's drama. What are you going to do now? I asked. Try to rebuild, he said. On my own terms. We hung up, and I stood there for a long time. The walls of the apartment felt strange, like I was seeing them for the first time. The truth was out. Ted had left. Lisa's lies were catching up to her. But I wasn't celebrating. Later that week, Katie showed up again. She didn't ring the bell. Just stood outside the building, waiting. When I stepped out, I saw the truth written all over her face. Pale. Raw. Her eyes hollowed by reality. I know about the letters, she said quietly. I nodded. Ted told me. Mom's been lying to all of us, she whispered. Even to herself. I didn't say anything. Let her sit in that silence. I feel like I don't know who I am anymore, she said. If she could lie about something that big, what else don't I know? You start by owning what you do know, I said gently. You pushed me out. You hurt me. But now you know why that matters. She looked up at me. Do you think we can come back from this? I don't know, I said honestly. But I know I'm not ready yet. She nodded, tears brimming again. But she didn't cry this time. She just breathed. Deep, slow, broken. "I'm sorry for everything," she said. "And I'm going to keep saying it until you believe me." That moment hit harder than any speech or apology. Because for the first time, I did believe her. But I didn't hug her. Didn't invite her in. Not yet. Instead, I said, "Take your time." And mean it. She nodded once more and walked away. The door closed behind her. But this time, it didn't feel like goodbye. It felt like a beginning. One that wasn't based on illusion or guilt or performance. One that might one day be real. And as for Lisa, she tried calling me. Once. I let it ring. Because the story she wrote is over. And now I'm writing my own.